All right, so TBC, man, what you got?
All right, so I think the first thing is how do you think they're gonna do it?
Are, are we talking
Between
about like the how they're gonna the logistics of like how they're gonna get people onto TBC servers and stuff, or
no, as in like classic to TBC on if it's gonna be fresh servers, transfer this into that. Like, how do you? If it was you running it, how would you
well,
go about
okay,
it?
so
And
if I was the one running it, I'd let people make 58s. If that's what we're talking about, I'd let people make 58s.
yes, that is what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I would
about.
let people make 58s.
Um, but I get it. Like, yes, but what about like the work people have put in throughout Classic over the past 2 years? Like,
No, I mean, like, if people want to transfer their characters over, they can, but I would baseline let people make 58s.
oh, okay.
I'm not saying that
So
everyone
like
has
I
to
can
make a
transfer my
58.
60 over or make
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
okay.
that's what I would do.
All right.
Because, like, someone like me, I think I've talked about this before with you, but someone like me, I don't enjoy the leveling of Classic. I don't care about, the journey or whatever other people care about. It's just not interesting to me. I don't enjoy it. Um, I much more care about the late game and end game progression, right? And that only exists really. I'll do the leveling through TBC, but I don't want to do classic leveling through TBC. I just don't see the point in it. I don't see the point.
I mean, they did make the leveling a lot easier.
Like, because for the people who want to play classic, right? They probably have already played classic and they probably already have a level 60, right?
Right.
And so the people who want to play TBC, chances are they want to play TBC for the experience at the end game, not leveling through classic, right? Because otherwise they probably would be playing already in order to be level 60.
Like yourself.
What do you mean?
Well, you just don't care for
I yeah, I
classic
just
leveling,
I,
as
I
you just
don't
said.
enjoy it. It's not fun. That's why I'm not level 60 at the moment because I get bored of it. Um
I mean, they did make it easier. Not too
and I
easy,
mean
but they
they
did make it a lot
yeah, they
faster.
nerfed it by like 30% or something in TBC, which is cool, but I still doesn't I don't care. It doesn't fix it the fact that it's still just a
Yeah,
grind and it's not fun. There's nothing interesting to do. It still takes a very long time.
it does. With how I would do it, I think just take classic servers, you make them TBC servers, and then you dedicate a few servers to classic only, like a PvP server, a PvE server, an RP server.
Do you think you force everyone to go to TBC and then give them the option to transfer off?
Yes,
Okay.
because I know there are people who, like you said, are playing classic because they like classic and they don't want to play TBC, and they might not want to play TBC. And I think that's, to me, that is the smoothest transition into it, because like if you're taking a break or you're just not focused on it at the moment, you don't have to. I mean, I guess transferring a character doesn't take too terribly long, but I think it would be easier to have it under the same one instead of creating a whole nother, like, copy your character to this version of the game and then
I mean, you're kind of doing that either way, though, right?
right. But I think it would be easier to, I don't know if Blizzard's able to do this, but I know it's been done on private servers where you can like dedicate a certain server to a certain level cap and a certain patch.
I don't think they'll do
I
that.
don't see
That
why.
seems that seems a little bit too divisive. I don't think they'll do that.
Really.
No, where they block it up, where they make servers for separate patches. No, I don't think they're gonna do that.
Well, not separate patches. I meant like that's how they do it on private servers. I was thinking more classic TBC kind of separation, not like 2.1,
Oh,
2.2, 2, like
oh,
not like that.
okay. Well, okay. When you said it, it sounded like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think. I think if they are able to do it that way, to me, that is the smartest way because you're not creating a, a whole nother download for everybody. It's still under the same one. It's just you can't pass a certain point
You know,
on certain
there's a part of
servers.
me that really honestly kind of wants Blizzard to just force everyone to go to TBC. I know that would make some people upset, but one,
It also makes sense
that's
because
how it was. Two,
yeah,
I feel like Classic as an experiment is done at this point. I feel like everyone who may have wanted to play Classic at this point has probably already played it. Right? Like I don't feel
yeah,
like there's going to be that many people in the future who go, I still want to play Classic. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. At least not enough to where like it would be a sizable like group of people, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Nostalgia Race was a thing. Granted, Nostalgia Race happened, a decade after Classic, but
right. My thing with that is you still do like you can. I mean, I don't know how it's gonna work when TBC comes out and people are playing it, but the way it was when original TBC was out was you still did classic raids. Maybe not weekly,
well, it
but
depended, right? You would do them for like Thunder Fury. Thunder Fury is still a great
right.
weapon going into TBC. Um, so I don't know how many guilds actually did that because it was a great weapon, but it wasn't like you needed it 100%. That was more like an
Yeah.
optimized, thing.
But with how I've seen, you know, the players evolve through even just throughout the 2 years of classic of me being in and out of it, I don't see why people wouldn't do that.
I mean, honestly, yeah. At this point, I could see most people doing that sort of thing simply because, obviously, Classic is not as hard as people thought it was, and people
Right.
now have like tens of thousands of gold. Pretty much everybody who's level 60 that can use it has a Thunder Fury. Um, it's just, yeah, I could definitely see it happening for sure. I don't think it's gonna be as important as you might think it is.
No, I don't think it'll be that important, but if it's better and it's an easy raid to run because you're going to be either over geared or
Well,
everyone
it comes
obviously
down to
knows
the
how to do it.
logistics of it. It's still a rare drop, right? Like it's you still have to get both
Yes.
bindings. So running it every week most of the time running it every week is going to be a waste of time. It's going to be a complete waste of time. But for that one off chance that it does drop a binding or both of them, then yeah, it's probably worth. But I don't know. I don't think it's actually going to be as required as you might think it is. Maybe.
It'll be interesting. I definitely want to like I mean, I
I think
know
it'd be cool for sure, yeah.
oh yeah. It's like I mean, I like seeing Thunder Fury. I like, running by and seeing that huge ass sword on
Oh,
somebody's back. I think it's
I
like
think it's cool. In retail, it is cool.
I guess
No,
it's I
yeah,
guess it's the same aspect of Warglaves in TBC. It's the same like,
dude, those are gonna be
oh my
fucking
god.
insane, dude. Okay, what are you gonna be most excited for in TBC, man? I gotta know because we haven't really talked about it. I don't think between us.
Most excited for?
What is making you like? Damn, I really can't wait to play TBC.
So my thing with Classic, which this I'm gonna get there, just one sec. My thing with Classic was I didn't like the current state of retail.
No one did.
And obviously, yes, I know no one did,
Yeah.
but
PFA.
I just never enjoyed it. Like even like I think the last time I played through and actually like tried was probably Mop.
Yeah, I remember you actually got Legendary Cloak and everything up. I remember that.
Yeah. I actually like that's the last expansion I actually played to a full extent. And since then, really I just have been in and out of retail, not really like too focused on it, and I've just been, playing other things. But with Classic, like I don't know, it just gave not that it just gave me something to do, but it was a version of the game that I've always liked better. It's just something that, I mean, I like leveling. If you like, you would know that leveling is
Yeah,
something I enjoy for
yeah,
some
you're a
reason.
weirdo.
So I just something about the leveling and having each level matter and the slow progression of your character becoming increasingly powerful, not every 15 levels you get a talent point, and just not everything mattering as much, like numbers mattering as much, just like there's a lot more variation to the game. That was my biggest thing, was the variation. So with TBC, since I didn't rate in classic. I got to 60 on my rogue, and that was that. I didn't raid. I kind of just hit 60 and then started playing alts because I didn't want to. I didn't care for rogue. I just leveled it because I was leveling with someone and it was a good leveling comp. But with TBC, I'm actually gonna have something I enjoy playing, and that's the first. That's the first expansion I ever played growing up.
Yeah, amen, brother.
With
Amen.
yeah, TBC was the expansion I grew up playing, and that's what I like. I was looking at the raids and at the cinematics that came out with each raid and being like, damn, like that would be fun. But knowing 6-year-old me, I can't do that. I'm not like mentally there yet. So having an opportunity to be able to do it
To be able to
now
actually
is
do it,
definitely,
yeah.
yeah. And being able to experience all the hype of, first going through the dark portal and seeing Hellfire for the
Okay.
first time again. Like, not the first time, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think so. You're more excited for like nostalgia reasons. You think?
Nostalgia reasons and just being able to play a part of the game that I missed out on because of my age.
Hmm.
That's definitely something that, like, even in Wrath, Wrath was the first
Well,
expansion I hit max
okay.
on.
So you know what's weird with you saying that is I would agree with you, but it feels like every expansion I get better and better at the game, and I feel like it's because of my age. So I get in this really weird like right now I'm not trying to be narcissistic or whatever. I think I'm a great retail player, and if I compare myself right now to how I was at the start of even BFA, I was dog ass back then, and I would for some reason have to say it's just because I didn't play the game as much as I do now. I wasn't as experienced then as I am now, and I've been playing this game for 13 years. It feels weird to be like, man, if I played in WAD, I probably could have been sick, right? When WAD wasn't even that long ago by most people's standards. So in
Yeah.
TBC, it's like holy crap, I could be fucking nuts in TBC, Because I was like, what, 6? We were both like 5 or 6 at the time.
Yeah. When it released, we were 6 going to 7 because it came out in the beginning of 2007, if I remember
I don't,
correctly.
I don't remember. All I know is I was very young, and literally the only thing I remember is farming dailies for my dad. That is the only thing I remember about TBC. But I remember it was so much fun for me. So I think the biggest reason for me to be excited is just really just nostalgia reasons. I think it's cool to experience the stuff like it was back then. I think it's cool that the classes have a little bit more definition to them in TBC. Like they have a little bit more defined of a role. Like in Classic, it feels like mages can kind of do whatever, except you're supposed to press only Frostbolt. But
Yeah.
in TBC, it's okay. If you're a Frost Mage, that means you have Shatter. Your Shatter does way more stuff now. You have Ice Lance, which is really sick.
Oh, Highest
Yeah,
Lance.
Ice
I
Lance
can't wait for that one.
is sick. Um, I mean, I know subtlety has always been like a hemorrhage spamming thing, but it feels cleaner to play in TBC than it does in Classic. Same thing for Warrior. Warrior feels cleaner. It's like Arms and Fury.
And I think at that point, because like this was their like Classic was like yeah, they took a long time on it, but you didn't really have anything to like from an MMO standpoint. You didn't have anything to go off of. Like you went from I don't know what kind of game.
They had like
Um,
EverQuest and they had some other game. I can't remember the name of it. They were other MMOs that Blizzard took inspiration from for sure, 100%. They're not going to
yeah.
deny that. They've openly said that was some of their
Well, no,
inspiration.
I meant like from their own gameplay.
Oh,
Like you went from Warcraft, which isn't even remotely like the characters and like the
Yeah, yeah,
classes
yeah.
and
It's a
stuff.
completely different type of game. Yeah.
Yeah. So being that long ago and with what they were able to achieve and the fact that, 15, 16 years later, people were still wanting that game means they did an insane job at it for what they had, and the fact that they were able to improve on it the way they did, just
Are you talking about classic?
no, the way they improved into TBC,
Oh.
like the way they
Well,
were able to make
see, the thing
everything
is they did
better.
it pretty much perfectly. I don't, it's one of those rare cases I think of a game that they just simply made better, and there really wasn't much to say that was worse about it from classic to TBC. Pretty much everything got better. Your alt, you could play alts much easier because of the badge system. You PvPers actually had like a legitimate outlet that wasn't just BGs and their weird honor system. The game was less grindy because you didn't have stuff like the honor system and world buff farming and whatever. I think personally, I know you disagree with that, but
Wait, say that again. You said the game's less
the
grindy
game
because
is
of
less. The
what
game is
exactly?
less grindy in TBC because getting gold is much easier in TBC because dailies give you a fuck ton of gold in TBC. Um, uh, farming for like your world buffs, you don't really need to do that. You don't do that in TBC because they removed world buffs.
Yeah. No, I agree with
There's
that.
no weird honor farming for this like really
I used to.
abstract honor system. Now you just have a legitimate points system that everyone loves. You get points for playing, and you spend those points on gear. Um, the game's just more defined, and I think
So,
that's grindy. This is cool.
on the note of world buff meta, so I know it's kind of annoying. Well, I mean, I know people find it annoying
Are you,
because it's just like, oh yeah, hold your world buffs, can't do anything else, can't like go PvP or whatever. You need to hold your world buffs for raid. I think that was very annoying. Like I see how that's annoying because I never
well,
experienced
it
it
incentivizes
personally.
you just not playing the game, right? Like if you get the world buff, you're like, okay, fuck, I literally can't log in, or else I'm gonna waste my world buff for the raid. That's terrible.
Right, but also it like they don't need the world
No,
buffs.
well, I think you kind of do for Nax. I think you need it more than the other raids for Nax. Could be wrong
Yeah, Nax is
because you have like
understandable.
patchwork, which is literally a pure DPS fight. So any DPS helps, right?
Yeah, but I think like leveling your first time or whatever through classic and getting that world buff that just like made you feel like the most powerful being at level like 10 running through Duratar or whatever. Like it felt
It
nice.
feels cool the first time. There is something a little bit neat that like, oh, at this time, because these people killed this boss, everybody that's in this certain area can get a huge buff for a little bit, right? I think that's kind of neat for an MMORPG standpoint. I just think it creates a lot of. I think the buff, if they're gonna be buffs, they should be minimal. Problem is the buffs in Classic aren't minimal at all. They're like
No,
huge.
they're not.
So yeah, I think world buffs are fine. I just don't think they should literally make or break a raid. And I know they kind of don't that much in Classic, but people make it out to be like that, and
Yeah, 100%.
I legitimately think they could have probably just nerfed them in Classic. I know people get pissed about no changes or whatever, but I think there's a problem. I never played Classic to that point where I have to worry about it, right? But from what I
Yeah.
heard, it's actually an annoying thing, and that's why people get so pissy whenever you purge their buff. Is because, well, it's a huge buff. I just spent all this time going for this really nasty buff, and you just purged it for me, and now I'm annoyed.
I respect the people that do
That
that.
purge? I don't
Oh yeah.
respect them. I just think it's fucking hilarious. I seeing people whine about it is kind of funny. I mean, I understand being upset if you're spending hours and you're forcing yourself to not play because of it. That
I mean, yes, I understand like you're not playing your main because of that, but when you get to that point, like you and I talked about this like a couple hours ago. Like you even said like your job is to log in, do raid, and then you don't really do much else on your character at that
I know,
point.
but I would like to have the choice than literally be forced not to because I have to get this buff for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, as much as we want to say the buffs aren't necessary, for some people they are. Some people are just bad at the game, and their guilds are going to require them to get those buffs because that guild sucks. It's full of bad players. And I sympathize with those people, because, they probably want to play the game. They're not that great. They may have stuff IRL going on or whatever. They have to take this time to get the buff, and then, in their free time, they want to play the game. They can't because they have to save the world buff.
I mean, if they want to play the game, I say play an ult, but I'm biased towards leveling.
No,
so
I mean, it may
ignore
not
me.
be that big of an issue. I think people generally get buffs like a few hours before a raid anyway, so it's not like they're waiting days or whatever. But
Yeah, like from what I've seen is like a bunch of 60s will log in, and then Rend will pop in 10 minutes, so they'll be sitting in the city for a couple minutes, and then Oni will drop seconds later, and then they'll all get summoned to Booty Bay, get ZG buff, because it's gonna like they line them up. They're not stupid about them. They line them up so they can get them all at once, and then go do their raid, and then
I think
after raid,
I
it's
think
over.
the thing I'm most excited for in TBC, if I had to put a name on it, it would probably be PvP, and I'm not talking specifically arena, but something about the open world PvP in like Zanger Marsh or Hellfire Peninsula or even Nagrand is just fucking cool to me. Something about going to do your dailies and you have to fight one or two people while they're doing their dailies as well. Something about that's just cool to me. And in Classic or in TBC it feels less BS because you have stuff like PvP Trinket. You have, you can actually not get stun locked for years by a rogue because they nerfed that in TBC.
That I just feel like world PvP just feels more natural at that point.
I mean, I don't know. There's something puts it bad. No, I guess it feels better then because everyone's around the same level bracket. In Classic right now, I'm farming these elementals, right? And there's people who are level 30 and there's people who are level 60 and everyone in between around here. And I'm getting ganked by level 60. It just doesn't feel fun, right? But when you're doing your dailies in Zanger Marsh and TBC, right, you're literally going to be facing other level 70s. So you're on as about as equal as a playing field as you can get, save gear.
But I think that's a good thing.
No, it's a good thing. 100%.
No, I think like you were saying, except gear. I think the fact that gear is the only difference in like that area, like when you're doing your dailies and whatever and worried about PvP, the fact that it's literally only gear and not level that you're worried about is a very good sign.
that's I agree 100%. I'm because then unless obviously if someone has better gear than you, they're gonna smack you upside the head and make you question your life. But if if you run into someone who has equal gear, it's legitimately like it's not even a BS contest. In Classic, it feels like things are a little bit more random. Again, like when Fury Shaman, or a rogue literally just being able to stun lock you to death and kill you with no gear. Like that's just not fun. So stuff like that actually being changed in TBC is really sick. Fucking oh my god, I'm so glad they changed polymorph to not be 20 seconds. Oh man. Actually, is this when we played on the private server, was it still 20 seconds? I don't think it was, right?
I don't believe so. I mean, it goes up to 45 seconds. Or no, in PvP it is 20 seconds. Yes, it goes up to 45 in PvE, which is insane.
Yeah, I don't remember on TBC, but they changed that sort of stuff. The game just feels better. I don't know. The gearing is better. The ratings, literally everything is just better in TBC. Now, that being said, it's not like I don't want to make TBC out to be like the best thing on the planet. It's still my favorite expansion. It does have problems. Flying is a big one. Flying is a big problem. Because it costs a lot. Obviously, it's going to cost nothing for people now who've been playing Classic consistently because they already have the gold to buy it.
Right.
But for the average Joe like me, it's going to be, pretty aids to have to get.
And I think that's a good thing.
It definitely rewards you for playing more, but as I don't want to say as little of a grind as possible, the better the game, because that's not true.
Yeah, because then you're like force fed things.
Right.
But with, like you said, in TBC, it is easier to get gold. And I know that our gold inflation, which is something I did want to bring up, is crazy high even in Classic.
It's absurd right now from what I've heard. I've seen people who have gold cap, which is like 214,000, like, and they'll show streamers on stream, they'll open trade and whatever. It's like, it's unthinkable that people could do that back then. In Classic, there weren't that many people who'd ever hit gold cap. I remember there was like I think there was one guy who hit gold cap in Classic. He was some like enchanter on like this server, and he was like the only enchanter who had this certain enchant, and he abused the hell out of it.
Yeah, and I think looking at how the game was played then, even 100 gold,
I mean,
like getting an epic mount was a big deal.
By the way,
Classic.
in Classic, go jewel crafting as a profession.
BC, you mean?
In TBC, go jewel crafting 100%, because
every
piece of gear has jewels on it. Granted, everyone's gonna do that, but people right now, if they transfer from Classic, chances are they're probably not gonna change their profession to jewel crafting, because that's gonna be a huge investment, right? Maybe they will.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I think early on, that's gonna be huge. Is jewel crafting. So I definitely recommend
keep that in mind.
Looking into that. Another thing that I don't think we should be excited for in TBC is as much as it's a little bit less grindy. In terms of content, it's more grindy, I think, because have I shown you that attunement chart for TBC? Yes.
I do know the attunement chart, and that's actually something I like.
I don't. I think it's look. I think it's neat that there are attunements, and I wish they still existed, but not in the way that. No, I actually don't wish they still existed in retail. Never mind. They had that in BFA, and it was terrible.
Well, I think overall, as like pugs, for example, I think it's gonna definitely help out a lot of the people who aren't as quick at leveling, or who aren't able to play as much as other people are, because those top tier raiders who are in the newest raid, or going towards the newest raid, they're still gonna have to go back to those older raids of that specific expansion and get pieces and loot from that that raid to get into the new one.
I think, honestly, man, I think it's just going to widen the gap between players. I think the really good players who have a lot of time, they're going to be able to speed run through that shit. And I think the people who don't have a lot of time are going to be left behind by a long shot because of how long that chart is.
Right, but if you're looking, like, I understand, like, guild rating will definitely be a huge gap. But if you look at pugs, for example, like, those people who have, like, look at Classic. The people who have cleared MC and they're getting gear from the next like BWL, for example, they're going to have to go back to Molten Core. And not everyone, since it's pugs, not everyone is going to be doing it at the same time like they would in a guild, so they can all loot that one item. I think it's definitely going to help out. In a pug standard, I think it will help out a lot of the slower players in TBC.
Maybe in a pug world, yeah.
Yeah, in a pug world, for sure. In a guild world, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, because if you're progressing with a guild at a slower pace, you're still progressing with your guild, not higher ranked guilds. But I definitely think there will be a larger skill gap in that aspect, because the people with the better gear from the newer raid will be able to clear the older raids faster. But I love the idea of that attunement chart. I don't know why, but I think it's really cool that
I think
you do have to go back and, kill.
I think you like it. I don't think you're gonna like it when you actually have to do it. I think thematically it seems cool. I think actually it's terrible. It seems more like something that like people are gonna look at with like, oh man, that sounds so cool. I've got to do all this stuff in order to be able to do this and that. But in reality, you're literally going to be doing these very long quest chains, going in a really annoying certain order for certain dungeons that might be harder early on than the dungeons you would do later on. Like it, you know, I don't think you're gonna like it that much. But
I don't know.
I
I
could
think
be
it's just
wrong.
like an
I could be
endless.
I could be wrong. You could.
You know I'm weird. You know I like leveling.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I
come on.
know. I just it
I think
just
it's just like
seems
an
like something that people think they like, right? And then they're not gonna like.
yeah.
But hey, I
I
said that
think it would
about
be very
classic.
nice
So.
because it gives you like yes, you're doing the same content as before, but it's giving you content to get some more content. Like I think it's a very content driven
Right, but what if what if
expansion.
you don't play for a few days, right? Let's say you're in a guild, you don't play for a few days. Now you're behind your guild by a lot. Not many people are probably gonna do that with you, right? They're probably not gonna go through that content with you because they already did it. They don't need to do it again. Then
I
you're
mean, but
behind.
from a guild standpoint, you all have to be at a specific spot in order to get through that raid.
Well, maybe because I know in TBC it's 25 player. I think it's 10 and
Yes.
25, and a lot of people. Here's the interesting thing. Apparently, 10 man is straight up just better than 25 man. And I'm talking for
In
like for
certain
like
raids,
Karazhan,
yeah.
it's 100% better. I
Yes.
think.
Yes, 10 mana is way
Actually,
better than Karazhan.
Wait, can Kara even do 25? It can, right?
No.
It can't. I don't think so.
No, it's just a 10 man raid.
Yeah.
But I
That's it. I'm thinking of Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King was the problem with 10 man. Wrath of the Lich
yeah.
King and Kata, because people would literally only run 10 man because it was just the most efficient. 10 man would get the exact same loot as 25 man, so there was literally no point in running 25 man. It just made the game harder for no reason.
Challenge mode. Yeah, I definitely think that being able to go back to the older raids will just because like guild standpoint, 25 people. If you have a set number of people that are raiding and you're like, all right, group A is these 25 people. Like, yes, I understand if it's that kind of guild, you will have expectations to meet and throughout specific time frames. But let's say, you're ahead of me, you're at killing, I don't know, the end boss in Karazhan. You need his head. And I'm at killing this boss in this dungeon. But we're in the same guild. Whether you blow through it faster than me and you end up getting attuned for Serpent Shrine before I will, like, we're still not raiding until I get there. If it's a set team.
Well, okay, so the way it works, by the way, is you always have extras. You always have benches. Because if you don't, you're going to run into problems where if someone doesn't show up, you're fucked and you can't raid.
Yes.
So, like right now, we have about 5 or 6 people on the bench on retail in a 20-man raid. So we've got, 25, 26 people. So that sort of problem, like if someone's behind, it's basically just, yeah, we need them, but also it's your fault for being behind. We can't just, stop the raid for you. You have your own responsibility to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Especially in the TBC where numbers matter more. Like your gear and stuff.
Yeah, they do.
I only say that because I think playing classes and classic in TBC is not hard at all compared to retail, which I still don't think is hard, but is retail you have a lot more decisions to make, and in TBC I don't really think you do. Which I guess is a
100%.
downside to me personally. I like playing a little bit more intricate of games and classes, which is why I'm trying to play Shaman, I think. A little bit more intricate than like, Priest. And
Yeah.
I was gonna say Druid, but Druid's actually Rested Druid. They changed a little bit in TBC, and it's actually really sick. So they gave him Life Bloom in TBC. Ooh.
Life Bloom Pog. Life Bloom's fun. I was thinking about playing Druid. Druid does seem something like I could be interested in, but I kind of settled on mage because I've always been kind of fascinated with mage and just
Ice
their
Lance.
ability to.
It's Ice Lance. Just say it.
No, it's not just Ice Lance. It's their ability to deal 4 times the amount of damage when someone's frozen. That's my favorite thing about Frost Mage.
That's Ice Lance, man. You know that, right? Yes.
Oh, is it?
Shatter is
Damn.
2 times, I think. No, Shatter always makes you crit. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Ice Lance is 4 times.
So 8 times?
No.
Oh. You sure?
I mean, you're the one that's on a mage right now. Tell me what Shatter does. But I
Well,
know
okay.
Ice Lance is 4 times. That I know for a fact.
Well, no, I'm saying, but if your Ice Lance crit,
No,
8
no,
times?
no, it's not.
Increases the critical strike chance of all your spells against frozen targets by 50%.
So it would make the base Ice Lance.
Oh, it makes your crit 4 times instead of 2.
No, no, no.
Right?
What it does? No, 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 no. Listen. So it makes your base hit of Ice Lance. So Shatter's gonna make your base hit crit, and then that crit's gonna be multiplied by 4.
So that would be 8 times because a crit's double.
No, I don't think so. Because if maybe, I don't know.
I mean, that only makes sense because if your Ice Lance is going to hit 4 times the normal amount because they're frozen, that would be X times 4. But if that crit is doubled, if that crit doubles that damage, it would be X times 4 times 2.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that, man. Because if it was literally 8 times the damage, that would be a problem. I'm pretty sure.
But Ice Lance on its
It
own
probably
does not do a lot of damage.
So what I think it does, I don't think Ice Lance maybe it does I know Ice Lance is 4 times. I know that for a fact. I remember
Yes,
it says quadruple in it. I know it's 4 times. I don't think I think there's a DR on it or something. I think they make it not do 8 times the damage. I think they intentionally do that. Cuz that sounds busted.
Yeah, it really does.
Cuz an Ice Lance that hits for 300 would instead hit for 2500, somewhere around there. 2400, right? That's not okay.
All right, give me just 1 second. I'm figuring this
actually,
out.
are you going to the private server?
Oh, no,
okay,
no, no,
you're
no.
looking it up.
Yep.
Well, keep in mind, Shatter's
Right,
different
so-
in TBC. They changed it. I don't remember exactly how, but I know it's different.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. So, okay, Frozen. Since the damage bonus is applied after all other flat modifiers, such as spell damage effects, the burst can get high. Shatter combo. Okay. Freeze your enemy immediately when Frostbolt is done casting. Start spamming Ice Lance because of the travel time. Okay, so no. The Ice Lance crits frozen targets. When they are frozen, it is a 4 times and it's considered a crit. So it's like making your crit go from 2 to 4.
Oh, right. Ice Lance doesn't matter if they're yeah.
So you can crit with Ice Lance on normal, and that would be 2 times the damage of Ice Lance. But when they're frozen, it's like a double crit.
Yeah.
Got
yeah.
it.
Well,
That makes
wait, they
a lot
didn't
more
have it.
sense.
They doesn't say anything about Shatter though.
Yes, but Shatter just increases your chance to crit.
Oh,
when Ice Lance comes into play.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I got you. Oh yeah. That makes sense. I don't know why that was so hard for us to figure out.
I don't want to question it.
That feels like a no-brainer.
It should have been, but here we are. So what was your issue with flying? You mentioned that a little earlier.
It costs a lot. That's pretty much it. It's a long grind. It's very rewarding, but you know, do I really want to be saving up for weeks, if not months, to get flying? Probably not. That doesn't sound fun. Especially not when I actually think there were more flasks in TBC than in Classic. I remember seeing videos of people flasking for, oh, what was the fight? It was the ogre. What was the name of the fight at the start of that one boss? That's really a lot of people like. Gruul. What was the name of that fight?
Yeah, I know exactly what boss you're talking about. I don't
I don't
just don't
remember
know
the
the
name
name.
of the fight. Let me look. There's a very interesting image.
He's like high priest or high
There's a
something like that.
very interesting image of people
What, potting for 10
flask
minutes?
like, potting on that fight. It's nuts. I can't remember where it was. Maybe I'll find it after the podcast, but there was a screenshot of basically this raid. They required like you had like 30 plus like pots or something on you on
That's
that
awesome.
fight. Yeah,
It's probably
you think
annoying
it's
as hell, but it probably looked pretty damn cool.
yeah, I mean it probably looked pretty cool, but yeah, my point is I'm worried if that's how it is. I don't know for certain. If that's how it is. That's yikes. Also, this guy just walked up to me and said, "Hi, good sir." Okay.
What does he
I
want?
don't know. He's asking me a question.
Oh, I know as a mate, or whenever I was playing my warrior, I would always get whispers like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "What do you want? You want me to tank something?" No. It's just instant. That's what they're gonna ask, and I just don't want to tank it because I've either done it already and done the quest. But so I know we've debated on this one before, but class changes?
What do
Question
you mean?
mark. Are they gonna make it an option for us? Like,
Oh, let you change your classes? No, that's never gonna happen ever.
no, race change. Sorry,
Oh,
race.
okay. Yeah, I think it's no, 100%. I think it's gonna happen because that's how it was in TBC. I'm pretty sure, and people are gonna want to play the new races. People are not gonna want to re-level the same class if they want to play the new race. It's just not gonna happen. People aren't gonna want to do that. So I'm 90% certain that they will let you race change again, mostly because I'm pretty sure that's how it was in Classic
Hashtag no changes.
or not Classic in TBC.
No,
My bad.
yeah. I don't remember if they let you do a race
I
change.
looked it up at one
I
point,
didn't.
and I think I remember seeing that they let you because I was curious. Um, 'Cause I think they let you also do faction changes back then too. I think that's when they opened up basically the shop where you could pay to do everything else except server swap. Or well, server swapping is actually just that's just Classic. I don't think they did that in vanilla.
No, they did not. You weren't able to server change until I want to say Kata.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think Kata is when they released server changing originally, but they did it for imbalanced servers on Classic and wanting to get off of PvP servers and super populated ones because of queue times. Is why they added it in for
Oh, I
Classic.
didn't know that.
It's really because of Faralina.
Faralina,
Faralina,
Herod, the big servers, yeah.
yeah, the big like three. So I know we talked about this earlier about how they're gonna do TBC. So if they force everybody into TBC, like we mentioned, what are the possibilities of a fresh classic server?
What are the possibilities? I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows. I don't think anyone can really gauge exactly what they're gonna do because we don't even know the results of the survey that they put out a long time ago. Um,
Yeah.
I have no clue, to be honest. I have no clue.
I mean, it's gonna get released in at BlizzCon. That's pretty much a given. Like it.
Oh,
If they
dude.
don't,
By
I
the
would be
way,
surprised.
that's in like half a month. That's
Yeah,
literally
that's
in like 2 weeks.
mid
Yeah,
February.
it's yeah.
I'm
I might buy. I'm
I'm
tempted
really
to buy
looking
the
forward.
pass, but I'm probably not going to.
How much
I
is
don't
it?
know, but it might be. I think it's like $40.
All right. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
we'll
this
talk
later.
about it later.
Um, I'm just I could see them doing a fresh classic server if they force everyone into TBC.
You could see it doing a
Like
fresh classic server if they force everyone in the TVC. Really?
yeah,
I don't know, man. That's hard.
because a lot of people like
The-
from
It's
the private servers from classic enjoyed that.
right, but it's more a logistical concern for Blizzard. They can do it. It's not hard, right? It's a matter of how much of your player base do you want to fragment? Because at that point you're running three separate four almost actually, because you have retail, okay, which is massive and requires a buttload of development. You have TBC, okay. You have the classic that wasn't wiped, and then you would have another new classic server.
Well, the classic that wasn't wiped would be TBC, so you would run 3. But even then, I feel like a lot of players who play classic are playing retail, and vice versa. And I think the players who want to play TBC are going to play TBC and maybe retail. I don't think it's necessarily like, yes, there will be I feel like a small portion of the community that is fragmented because of that, but I think more so, like we talked about this when Classic came out, like the community getting fragmented because certain people are going to play Classic, certain people are going to play retail, but also the number of people that are coming back for that specific expansion. Because I know that there's going to be a lot of people who didn't want Classic, but they want TBC. And I could definitely see that being okay, this is TBC, I like this, and then certain people aren't going to want to play TBC. And we'll focus on, not necessarily a fresh Classic, but a Classic-only server. Like, I think them running 3 isn't a terrible idea.
I just don't think it's a good one. Even not if we take Blizzard out of the picture and just talk about like our experience and what we'd experience, I wouldn't even want that. As a player, I wouldn't even want that because that just feels weird. I don't know how else to describe it other than there's literally 3 games going on. That's just weird. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird for saying that. You would have 3 different development cycles going on at the same time.
Yeah. I mean,
you'd have retail, which requires, I think, most of their WoW resources. Then you would have
right.
You have TBC, which is probably require, 60% of their classic resources, and then you'd have another classic server, which would probably require 30-40% of their classic resources. It's just something about that feels weird. Something about splitting the player base up 3 different ways doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think they almost have to have like, not necessarily fresh Classic like I just mentioned, but a Classic capped server or something, because, like, yes, I believe that we should get forced into TBC, and that is that, and maybe a realm or 2 for players who just want Classic, but I don't
know. I don't think I'm alone in thinking that it would feel weird. Because, like, obviously, and I mean, if the numbers bear it out, Blizzard can do whatever they want, and I recommend that if they please the most people as possible. But something about, like, hey man, I play WoW. Oh, you play WoW? What WoW do you play? Oh, I play retail WoW. Oh, I play Classic and TBC WoW. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of, I don't know.
I mean, that's relatively how it is now.
Yeah, but it's just 2. It's just one or the other, right? You play retail or classic. Then you'd have TBC WoW and classic WoW, and then it gets weird to me personally. And then if they even did that, what would they even call it? Would they call it TBC Classic or TBC Plus or Classic Plus? Like,
I think it would be WoW Classic and then TBC Classic is how they would run it. Just how they did,
most likely people are still gonna shorthand it to Classic, even if you're playing TBC. I mean, I guess they could say TBC, but
yeah, because, like, I mean, they're gonna call it TBC Classic, and then when the players are talking about what they're playing, it's gonna be just TBC. Like, everyone's gonna, like, there's no normal TBC anymore. Like, it's retail TBC and
maybe
Classic.
Maybe. I mean, yeah. If the numbers bear it out, go for it, Blizzard. Do whatever. Just for me as a player, I think it'd be really weird. In a community aspect, I think splitting people up like that can be dangerous.
And if they just roll Classic into TBC, it's still just going to be Classic. Like, it's just going to be, the second expansion of Classic. and I think that's just how the community's
no,
gonna
I
roll
actually
with it.
think people are gonna start calling it TBC. I don't think people are gonna call it TBC or Classic anymore once it's TBC. I think people are gonna call it TBC.
Yeah, actually, that
Drinking
just
game. Drink every
I don't
time
know.
I say TBC.
Oh God, no! Don't do it. Anytime we say Blizzard.
Anytime you say, I know we talked about this. Anytime you say, I
Oh
know we already
God,
talked about
stop!
this.
No, don't put ideas. I don't know. I'm just waiting for BlizzCon. I want it to finally just be confirmed. Like it's pretty much confirmed, but not really, because Blizzard hasn't said it. There hasn't been a blue post about it or anything. But I definitely think that when it does, I think it's gonna bring a lot of hype back into Classic.
Oh, well, I think more people are gonna play TBC than they will Classic, because the game just had more people back then.
Yeah. Well, no, even like now, like let's say tomorrow, 11 a.m. we wake up, boom, TBC's announced. I feel like a lot more players are gonna log back into Classic, knowing that oh hey, TBC's coming in a couple months. Why not get to 60 and be able to play right when that comes out instead of waiting to level?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
And I
that's
think
literally what I'm doing right now. Is I
yeah,
I know it's gonna come out. And I really do want to put off leveling in Classic because I hate it that much until they officially announce exactly what the hell they're doing. But I'm not really enjoying retail at the moment, so fuck it. Fine, whatever.
and I think it's smarter to level now.
Why?
In all honesty, because I don't really know how much hype that is going to bring into Classic leveling because or on people wanting to get ready. It's not going to be flooded like it was or anything, but I think you're going to have a lot more population in the game. And I think you getting to that point now instead of, waiting until they announce it when other players are like, "Damn, I need to go level now so when TBC comes out, I can play." I think you just getting ahead of that little like spurt that's going to pop up, especially on the server that we're on, is definitely going to be like yeah, it sucks now, but it's definitely going to I think help you out a little more in the long run.
Maybe. Why? Yeah.
Just because like no, I honestly don't think that thousands and thousands of players are going to be like, yeah, let's go play Classic again because TBC is coming out in 3 months. But I definitely think there is going to be that small population of players who stopped playing Classic because they didn't enjoy it, and they're going to be like, hey, TBC's coming out, I'm going to level this because I enjoyed this more than than what I have. And I could definitely see a little spurt in population throughout the game once that announcement's released. And because at this point, like with where both games are at, like yeah, I know they just finished releasing they're finishing the final tiers of LFR or whatever.
Yeah.
They're kind of in like a stalemate with where both
maybe.
games are at. Like Nax is out.
I
know retail you have a lot to do, but
okay. I'm hesitant to say stalemate or say they're like on equal footing because retail WoW is always in development because they make new shit, right? TBC and Classic, it's the same shit from 15 years ago. Just they gotta make sure everything's polished and that it's fine. They don't have to do anything.
Well, I meant in the aspect of like content.
I guess,
releases.
yeah.
Because like Classic, you're at Nax. There's nothing else coming. And with retail, like if you're raiding and you're playing the game, you're playing the game because you're enjoying the game or whatever the case may be. But you're not having that like people who are on edge about playing WoW because something's coming out. It's just like the players who are playing WoW have always played WoW, and it's just their normal like numbers. But I think if you get that TBC announcement out, I feel like you're gonna bring some of those people who are on edge about it back to the game just for a little bit until that hype skyrockets again when TBC is fully
Oh,
released.
by the way, definitely invest in Blizzard right now. Definitely do that, because stock is gonna skyrocket BlizzCon.
Oh yeah,
So definitely, if you can get some stock in Blizzard right now, go for it, man.
definitely see how much it is.
Or maybe not skyrocket. It'll go up. You'll make a profit. So
Yeah, that, and then when TBC releases and everyone clicks that sub button.
hey, man, you want to buy me some stock in
Oh my god.
in Blizzard Entertainment?
I don't know if you were in the call earlier, but one of my friends has stock in AMC, like the
Yeah,
movie
Alex.
theater
Yeah,
company.
I was there for that. Yeah,
And did he mention how much it went up
like
by?
$700 or something.
He's doubled his money.
Yeah, that's sick, man. It's good for him.
Dude, if I could do that with Blizzard stocks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just gotta wait for the points where people are most excited about the company, right? So obviously, Blizzard
Yeah.
is BlizzCon. That's all. Stocks always.
Their
Stock
big
should
thing,
always go up
yeah.
around that time, unless you know Diablo Immortal. We're not gonna talk about that, but
Unless it just crashes and burns with every
Bro,
other game.
I
but
actually
WoW.
wonder what Diablo Immortal did to the stock during BlizzCon. I'm so curious. Because that was bad. That was bad PR. That
what
was
el-
bad everything. It was a bad game, bad PR, bad for everyone.
What else was released in that BlizzCon though?
Nothing. That's what was so disappointing about it. It was pretty much it was one of those filler BlizzCons, I think, where nothing was really being released, right? Retail, they're kind of just telling you about the next patch, but they weren't telling you about the next expansion. Overwatch hasn't done anything had happened to it in the past like 4 years. Hearthstone's Hearthstone. Nothing was really happening. And people were so excited because they thought, oh, this is going to be the year where they announced Diablo 4, which, by the way, still hasn't even been announced in terms of release date. It's been over a year, which is
Right.
really weird. Everyone was super excited, and they got let down with not Diablo Immortal, or not Diablo 4, with Diablo but for your mobile phone, which most PC people don't like mobile anything or console anything because we're elitist and jerks.
In a way, yes, but at the same time, I know every single PC player has a controller for that one game on Steam.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it's for Mortal Kombat. Absolutely.
And I know that, like, yes, that's not what
But-
they're like elitist
No, but
towards.
I'm
They're elitist
I'm
towards,
I'm
like,
serious.
graphics and-
This next BlizzCon, if what I'm thinking is gonna happen happens, where they announce TBC, they finally give a release date to Diablo 4. They
Oh, it'll be
they
insane.
finally give a release date to Overwatch 2.
Is that confirmed?
No,
Is that
yeah,
a thing?
no, what? You didn't know that? Overwatch,
Oh no, we talked.
yeah,
we talked
Overwatch
about
2
that.
got
Yeah,
confirmed
yeah.
like a long time ago. Last year's BlizzCon was fucking insane, dude. Oh my god, you had Diablo 4, you had Shadowlands, you had Overwatch 2. It was huge. Like, it was such a good BlizzCon.
If this one has that much in store, and it's gonna be
I don't
good,
think it'll
then
have that much in store, but it's gonna have actual like stuff that we can worry about and care about, like release dates for games that have already been announced a year ago that they just haven't said anything about. People that is gonna get people hype because then they know, okay, good, this is happening. So if you can buy stock in, if you can buy stock in
Speaking
Activision
of,
Blizzard for BlizzCon, because that's gonna spike probably for a little bit, enough to make profit. It should. I don't know why it wouldn't.
it's sitting at $92 a stock right now.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but like, do I really want to drop? Damn.
Well, okay,
that's
so what you
tempting.
should do, look at the past BlizzCons and see what it spiked up to.
When is each BlizzCon? around?
November.
Like what?
It's in November.
Okay, November.
This is the only one that hasn't happened in November, I think.
So last year went from $75 to $80. So $5 increase from.
Was that the peak? That was
a-
the peak increase?
That was the peak increase for November of 2020.
Okay.
August it peaked at 86. Right now it's sitting at $92, but peak was a couple days ago at 95. Oh, they were down bad in March
Yeah. Well,
of 2020.
everyone was though. That's when Corona hit the U.S.
Oh yeah. Oh damn, it's been
Yep.
that long.
No, well, no.
Yeah, they dropped
Yeah,
it
dude,
50.
Corona's.
So
I've known about Corona for over a year now. 100%.
that
So I
yeah,
remember
that
hearing some. I told you about this. I remember hearing some guy in my guild talking about it. He's like, "Hey, did you hear about that one virus in China? Kind of scary." I was like, "Nah, it's in China. Who cares? It's like a few people." And little did I know.
here we are.
Yep.
So you said you're playing Shaman in TBC,
Yeah.
right? What inclined you to play Shaman? What was your, like, you asked me what was your excitement point of like looking at Shaman and being like, damn, that's what I want to play.
Well, it's a mixture of a lot of things. It's not really one thing I can point to. The One of the biggest reasons is it's my highest level character on Classic, so to level again, yay. Another reason is I've always liked the idea of Shaman. I've said this before. I think Shaman aesthetically is fucking sick. I love Earth Shield. I love Water Shield. I love the weapon enhancement idea. Just there's so much flavor to Shaman that most other classes don't have. Rogues have like combo points and big eviscerates. That's it, right? Hunters just have a pet and shoot, auto shoot, and kind of annoying. Right? Shamans have so much little like mini games they play. You can only have 4 different types of a totem out at a time. You have um you have your shields like Earth, Water Shield. You have your weapon imbues, so Frostbrand, Flame Tongue, Wind Fury, Rock Biter. You have shocks, which are all in the same cooldown. It's just it's cool to me. I don't know. I think it's really cool. I think the idea of um all that put together is kind of fun. And I've always wanted to master Shaman because I feel like it's probably maybe not so much in retail anymore, but in the state where it has the 4 different types of totems you need to worry about at a time, I think it's one of the higher skill cap healers in the game, maybe one of the higher skill cap classes in the game, because you have to worry about, which totem do I put down now? You have a whole bunch of keybinds you have to have and worry about.
I mean, high school
Also,
cap and classic
I
and
just
TBC isn't much.
well, no, you're right, but no,
Jokingly.
100%. But it's still, I think Shaman is exponentially more with what you can do with it than most other classes in TBC um and Classic, because of how much options you have and whatever. Also, Wind Fury weapon. That's just fun.
Yeah.
Not even for myself. Being able to give melee Wind Fury weapon is insane in raid.
Warriors.
Oh, don't even get me, dude. I'm
my-
the lust boy too. Don't even get me started on that, man. Ooh.
Oh my god, you drop a Wind Fury totem and then Lust, and the Warriors are just dropping dimes.
You hear that weapon? There's a paladin in front of me with corrupted Ashbringer.
Makes
Isn't
me
it? I think it's
sad.
like a 3% drop or something.
I kind of forgot you were on Classic.
Yeah, I'm just
And I thought you were
No,
on retail, and I was like,
yeah,
what?
I'm just killing elementals right now.
What are you farming for your
No, I
mount?
already have it, but I'm just killing them.
Go quest.
No,
Go
no,
level.
no, no,
Beat
no.
me to
I am.
60.
I'm running around looking for a certain mob that I just can't find yet.
Okay. What are you in the far right of the Badlands where all those big dragons
No,
are?
I'm near the elementals. I'm just riding around that little area, that little patch of land, like in front of the elementals, looking for like.
The elementals. I know
I'm looking
exactly
for
where
some
you are.
buzzards, bro.
So what class change are you interested about?
What do
the
you mean
most, I
class
guess?
change?
Like improvements? Because I know Rhett gets kind of crazy.
Rec gets crazy if you're a blood elf. If you're a blood elf.
Why specifically?
Because seal of blood.
Oh god damn it! I knew it.
Yeah. It's a problem in TBC. I mean, like, I think Alliance Rets aren't terrible, but they're just exponentially better with Seal of Blood. I don't remember exactly what Seal
Right.
of Blood does. I just know that people talk about it all the time, and that it's a big issue in terms of faction imbalance.
It's a it's something about whenever you so the Alliance one is, it is a prot seal, it's whenever you get hit, the attacker takes a certain amount of holy damage, but the Seal of Blood is whenever you hit. If I remember correctly,
I'd have to
it is
look.
a ret versus prot. The reason it's such a faction imbalance is because the Alliance one is used more by prot paladins, but the Seal of Blood is very ret eccentric and ret heavy. That it is the imbalance is the fact that Horde can play.
So I'm looking at it, and Seal of Blood, all melee attacks, all melee attacks deal additional holy damage, but the paladin loses health equal to 10% of total damage inflicted last 30 minutes. So I guess it just does a lot of damage. It just does a lot of extra auto damage, which is why it's so good.
And the Alliance one I know is definitely a prot favored seal.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So I think that's, I don't know. I'm glad I'm playing Horde because I leveled Alliance the first time.
Yeah,
and
I used to be Alliance, but I just think I think Horde is cooler aesthetically. I think Horde is cooler in terms of a player base. I think a lot of newer people or maybe not as experienced people play Alliance, which is fine. There's nothing wrong against that. I just like being surrounded by, more experienced players generally. That sounds really elitist. I'm sorry, but
no, I mean, I don't think it sounds elitist. I think anybody who, wants to play the game at a higher level than, getting to max level and calling it a day, wants to be around better players because they want to get farther in whatever content they're going through. Like it's not. I don't think. It's
do you know what
Some people might.
I'm thinking about it. Do you know what I'm most excited for in TBC, man? I already said it. I legitimately think that doing dailies and you know how in Hellfire there are those checkpoints where you can take and fight and whatever.
The PvP zones, yeah.
That shit seems fucking cool to me, bro. I can't wait for that to actually pop off.
World PvP actually being World PvP, not just reliving Tarn Mill versus South Shore. Because
not just doing it for fucking honor to get a
rank 14 banana set. I want the banana set.
Hey.
That's why I leveled a warrior on Alliance. I just wanted the banana set, but I knew I was
get it on
never
retail,
gonna get
bro.
it. I don't play retail.
It's not hard at all in retail.
I don't play retail.
Well, and I guess you're not getting the banana set ever.
No, I just something about and the only reason I like it so much is nostalgia.
All right, for sure.
Because I remember in TBC being damn, seeing a dude, because obviously there wasn't transmog.
If you want to decide what spec to play in TBC, look at the armor sets for your class in TBC. The shaman ones are sick, dude. Especially for an orc, they're so sick.
Mage ones that I saw weren't that crazy.
Let me look. I think the Merciless TBC mage sets. I think the Merciless was pretty good. It's the red and yeah, no, Vengeful. The Vengeful one's alright.
I mean, hey, just the thing about the banana set for me was running through on my level 20 warlock through Stormwind, seeing some dude in a banana set, not realizing that it wasn't the best gear, me thinking, oh god, that guy looks sick, he has glowing blue eyes, this guy's, amazing. And then...
Don't you need to be rank 14 for the helmet?
Yes.
Or 13?
I thought it was 14 for the entire... 14's
yeah, I
weapons,
thought 14 was just the weapons. I think 13's the helmet.
Yeah. But in TBC, I'm yo, that guy looks sick, must be an insanely good player, which probably was because, he was rank 14 back then. And then realizing that he was just flexing. He didn't have to wear that gear.
He was only showing you 1% of his
gear,
power.
He was just flexing that he got rank 14. And I was thinking on it now, I'm I don't know, it's just something that I've always thought back on, was damn, that guy was something.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. I can't wait. I really can't.
I'm just ready for them to
Yeah,
announce it.
that's literally all I'm waiting for, man. Then it's GG for these fucking buzzards, man.
I really like. I understand you wanted to play Shaman. I think you should bring your rogue roots back.
Like I could.
Cause
You gotta understand. You gotta
that's
understand.
like.
I enjoy healing though. Like I love healing so much.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're a
Yeah.
healer now. You've changed your
Like
ways.
I enjoy Rogue too, but I'll be honest. And on the private server, after playing Rogue in TBC, it is literally just hemorrhage spam, maybe kidney shot, and then smack them up the side of the head with an eviscerate for 40% of their HP. It's
It's not all
it's
that.
not like it's not subtlety as it was in like fucking WAD. Subtlety in WAD was sick. Subtlety in Mop was sick. There was a period of time where there's a talent for sub. Basically, whenever you would ambush, it would teleport you to them from 40 yards away. So essentially, if you were stealth and you ambushed, it would teleport you directly to the target, so you wouldn't have to walk up to them to ambush them. And what would happen is, if you were subtlety, you'd have shadow dance, which lets you use your stealth abilities. So you could literally be like a ninja, fucking teleporting 40 yards away to fucking everywhere, with shadow dance. They fixed that and they changed that at some point. It didn't last too long, but stuff like that I think is cool. I don't think the rogue that exists in TBC is necessarily that fun. Maybe if I get bored on my shaman and I'm done, fuck it. Probably will level a rogue.
What, you're gonna level?
I probably will level a rogue or something. But no, I think I have my eyes set on shaman for now. Also, shaman can still one shot in TBC with like the elemental mastery thing.
Oh boy, are you gonna play Ellie or?
I mean, like I'll
Enhance?
probably, if I'm manning this, I'll probably switch between. Definitely not enhance. Enhance still kind of booty in TBC, I think.
Oh, remember dual spec 1,000 gold.
That's Wrath. Yes,
Is it
that's
really?
Wrath.
I thought dual spec was.
Nope.
Damn.
There's 1,000 gold in Wrath. Then it was like, no, that's Kata. No,
Then
no,
it
no,
went
no,
to
that's
100.
Kata. That's Kata that dual spec existed. Because it cost 1,000 in Kata, and I was like, no, maybe it was. I think
No.
maybe I think it. Okay, I think it existed in the pre-patch of Wrath for like 10,000 gold. It was a lot, and then they made it
It
like
went
1,000. Then they made it nothing, and then they just made it baseline, whatever.
It went from 1,000 gold in Wrath to 100 gold in Kata.
Okay, yeah.
Then 10 gold in Mob, and then it was free sometime in Mob. But dang, I really thought that was TBC for some reason.
No,
Kinda
absolutely
upset.
not.
Why not? I think we should do it.
Well, I mean, it'd be cool.
Just tweet
but
at them enough. Tweet at Blizzard.
It'd be
enough and
cool,
they'll
but
listen to
that's
us. Come
maybe a
on.
little bit too much change. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't think the game works
How
for.
did- oh, yeah.
I don't think the game works for dual spec and TBC. I don't.
no, it had to have been Wrath. You're right. Because it wouldn't have worked in Wrath.
What do you mean? It had to have been Kata? You
Because-
mean?
Yeah, Kata. Because it wouldn't have worked in Wrath because of the talent
No,
system,
that talent
right?
system still existed in Kata.
When did that talent system
Mop.
change?
Mop,
Mop?
yeah. You didn't know that? What? That was like the whole big thing about Mop.
Oh, I thought it was Kata.
No, bro. No, because you still had like fucking hemorrhage on Rogue and shit in Kata. You could get it in the subtlety tree. It was like one of the first things you'd get. Well,
You're
actually, no. The way it worked, I
right.
think, is if you like spec'd into subtlety, you'd get the ability, I think, or something. I don't remember exactly how it worked. Like if you spec'd in, if you put like a point into subtlety, you got like shadow step or something, and you could get it at like rank level 12. I remember doing that because I would do it in BGs, and I would walk up to people.
I actually do remember that too because I remember you and I were, for some reason we were in Gilneas, and you and I were dueling, and I would somehow get on top, or you would get on top of the little at the graveyard. At the end of the
I just
quest
want to say, there's no way you remember this because we didn't know each other in Kata, so I don't know what you're remembering, but
Maybe it wasn't in Kata, but I knew it was in a Kata zone.
yeah, but this only existed in Kata.
I don't know, man.
I think
Maybe-
you're
don't
just
know, man.
misremembering something. We didn't even know
Probably.
each other in Mop. No, we did. Because remember we were looking at
We
the
did.
yeah. We definitely didn't know each other in Kata.
Ah, the frickin' Moonkin, man.
Anyway, I think that's it for the podcast for right now. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for TBC. I can't wait. I'm waiting for when is BlizzCon anyway?
Um, BlizzCon. BlizzCon is set for
Like mid-February.
February 19th to February 20th.
Okay, so we got about 3 weeks. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh God, I want those days off.
Ah,
I want to be able to sit here and watch it.
be sick again. just say it.
No,
Yeah, I know you'll get fired probably.
no, I wouldn't.
Oh, you probably would.
They like me too much. I wouldn't
Well,
get
you
fired.
think that, but at some point you become a liability.
If I don't come into work,
I mean,
then
well, think about it. If you're taking 2 weeks off now because you have to, then in 3 more weeks you're like, hey, I need these 3 days off. I'm sick or whatever, or I need more days off because I'm sick. Then they're just gonna be annoyed. Be like,
yeah, probably. Dude, we have to wait about a month for TBC to be announced.
pretty much 3 weeks.
Ah,
And most likely,
Should I?
leaks
yeah.
come out even before BlizzCon. That's how we knew about Shadowlands before Shadowlands was the thing. I don't know if you remember watching the announcement for Shadowlands, but he made jokes about like, people leaking it. He made jokes about people leaking it or whatever.
Yeah. He said something and he was like, "Oh, you guys already know that."
It wasn't. I don't think it was that. But he alluded to it. He basically said he knows that there were leaks or whatever. So there most likely will be leaks before then that it'll even be announced. I know that people said that there are already leaks now about when the release schedule for TBC is. Someone said that it will come out in like April, May. TBC.
Stay safe. Said it. Safe said he was the one that originally was the first rumor behind it. Actually,
Yeah, I have a
schedule.
problem believing that because I think even he's like, I got this from one guy. I don't even know if it's like true or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trust it because that seems pretty short notice, I think. Because think about it, that's literally
I
4
mean-
months. Like, you
But think about how fast they released content through Classic.
right.
I
I
don't see
think they
that
would want to give people a
being-
little bit more time post announcement that like it's a thing coming out. Because post announcement, then it's like 2 months. You're giving people 2 months to prepare for TBC. That's not a lot of time, really. It may
Yeah.
sound like it. It's not. It's really not a lot of time. 'Cause most game releases, they announce it maybe 5, 6, 7 over a year before the game even comes out.
I don't see them waiting.
No.
that
I
long,
don't see
though.
them either. I wish they did, but I don't see them doing that either.
I mean, Classic's just not in a state to keep the player base active for that long before TBC.
Yeah, maybe.
comes out.
I think people would come back anyway for TBC. I don't. Maybe. I don't think they
mean-
should release it as soon as April or May though. I think that's a little bit close. I think that's a little bit.
I could see late May, early June release
Yeah, I
date,
could see that.
especially because that would give you 3 months from, like, let's say May 20th, since the BlizzCon is February 20th. That gives you 3
That's
months
also
on the
that's
dot.
also a scary release date because maybe it could happen around then because I think around then we actually get new retail content.
I don't agree with that. Them releasing stuff like that.
Well, they did that for they did that with Classic. Classic came out maybe a couple weeks after 8.2 came out. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess that builds like all the hype into.
I mean,
you know,
for honestly, for all we know, they may not even give a fuck about when they release it in terms of like trying to make them work off each other in terms of release dates. They may not even care. That's just a theory that I've heard people say. I don't think it's ever been confirmed that they actually intentionally do that sort of thing.
I mean, but it comes to a point where that little like trend ends up being like, all right,
I don't
Like,
think
I
we've
think they
seen
do it
enough.
for
I don't think we've seen enough in order to say it's a trend so far.
yeah. But I also think that if it happens, patch after patch after patch, and like I don't know, it just seems very too convenient for it to not be planned, I think.
I don't think it's happened patch after patch after patch. Like, Nax got released what? When did Nax get released? Do you mean like where they spaced it out so there's like an even amount of content in between months? Is that what you're saying? Or do you release them at the same time? What are you saying that they do?
Like, they'll release a content patch in Classic, or say it's coming out, and then, you know, like a week or two later, then, oh, this one's coming out next week. And it seems like, and then you sit there in those things for a couple weeks or a couple months, and then Classic, 2 weeks later, retail. I think if they spaced it out where it was like the peak of Classic is the low time of retail, like back and forth, I think that would be a lot better. Especially for people who play both. Like, the downtime in a patch for retail would be when, you know, BWL comes out on Classic. That's how I would do it if I was Blizzard. But
I don't know if
seems
we've seen
like-
enough to really say they do it one way or the other. I really don't. Because we've only had like, what, 4 or 5 patch cycles, right? I don't think that's enough to say they specifically do this one. They specifically do it this way. It could just be a matter of happenstance for all we know.
That's fair. I mean, it's only TBC will tell, I guess.
Yeah. I think we've talked TBC to death for right now.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Yeah. Till the next episode.
We got so off task. Oh, damn. We're still going.
Yeah, until next episode.
Deuces.